Holding physical gold, is there a set amount needed? Hey, I'm the Stacking Stormtrooper. If you're new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a guy in a bucket talking about precious metals. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, get the bell notification clicked, and that way you get updated with any new content. Holding physical gold, is there a set amount needed? This is a question that has been coming up more and more in discussions for various factors. First of all, I did post a video not too long ago discussing how much silver I believe one person should own, and I will put the link for that down below, so you're going to want to check that out. But when it comes to gold, this has been a question that's coming up more and more. Holding physical gold, is there a set amount needed? And that's because of a couple things. One reason in particular is the gold-silver ratio is tightening. Those of you that are unfamiliar with the gold-silver ratio, it's basically comparing how many ounces of silver is equal to 1 ounce of gold. So we have seen the gold-silver ratio sitting above the 100 to 1 mark for a long period of time, but now that ratio has tightened. Now we see it sitting right around 72 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold. Now, why is that significant? That is because a lot of people play the gold-silver ratio. A lot of stackers, what they like to do is they accumulate a substantial amount of silver, and then once the gold-silver ratio begins to tighten, they will sell off significant amount of their silver and take the funds from those proceeds and then trade that to gold. The one thing, though, that many people don't keep in mind are all the different costs associated with it. And I've discussed this previously on multiple videos as to why it's not as foolproof as many people believe it to be. And they also don't factor in the fact that usually silver and gold tend to move in generally the same direction. So yes, while the gold-silver ratio is going to tighten, you have to remember when you do sell off that silver, gold is now a lot more expensive than it once was. Having already said that, the gold-silver ratio is tightening, so people are starting to say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell off that silver, I'm going to buy some gold, but how much should I have? This comes down to a bunch of different factors that you need to think about, as not one answer is going to be the same for every person. What you're looking at here is a little over 22 ounces of gold, and while some people will think that this is enough, in my opinion, I still don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like this is enough in terms of like a savings in gold. I would like to have more. And there are people that are watching this video that probably have many more ounces of gold than seen here. But be that as it may, you know, it kind of comes down to a couple of things. First of all, gold and silver, in my opinion, is just another form of a savings account. I like to put my cash in silver and gold because I feel that I am a lot more disciplined. I find that I do a better job storing wealth in physical form, such as silver or gold coins, as opposed to just putting it in the bank, because when I put it in the bank, 9 out of 10 times that money gets spent rather quickly. So by having it in a physical form, I like to see it, you collect it, you get to hold it, you get to look at it, you know, you kind of act like Scrooge McDuck a little bit. So it's a lot of fun, and you do feel a sense of accomplishment when you see the stack grow and grow and grow. The other thing to keep in mind is because it acts very much like a savings account, you have to kind of think about your expenses. You know, how much is a good emergency fund for you to have? A lot of people say that you need to have anywhere between 3 to 6 months in emergency funds in a savings account in case you or a spouse loses a job and you're able to cover the costs of your expenses. A lot of people still to this day don't do that. And a lot of financial advisors, as a rule of thumb, they do say that you should have maybe 10 to 15% of your net worth stored in silver and gold. I like to look at silver and gold again as a term or form of savings. And, I find that this is a good emergency fund. And I find that silver and gold, while, it helps with the discipline of storing your wealth in this physical form. You do have that added benefit in that if you want to sell it, you have to find the buyer. It's easy to find buyers, but there's an extra step. In order to liquidate this, you need to be able to sell it to a coin shop or another person, and it takes time. It's easy to do, but there's that extra step involved, which is a nice thing about it. But you do have to look at it also, like I said, in terms of your monthly expenses. If you or your spouse, or if you're single, if you were to lose your job, do you have enough money in the bank that's going to get to hold you over the next 3 to 6 months? And, we are in another recession right now. We have about an 8% unemployment, and it is still very challenging for people to find work. So, are you able to cover your expenses for the next 3 to 6 months? If not, number one, you need to start saving. Number two, you should consider putting it in some sort of physical form, such as silver and gold. If you are not a disciplined person, I think that this will help. You also want to kind of think about how long can you go if you were to not have a job or to lose your income. A lot of people don't have those emergency funds set aside, and a lot of people don't even have any gold set aside. And again, you want to look at it just as another form of savings. The other thing you want to kind of factor into whether or not you have enough gold is your time until retirement. Okay, how much time do you have until it is time for you to stop working? For me, I'm relatively young. I have another at least 25 years in which I'm going to be working. So my goal is to continue stacking silver and gold during that time, in addition to other, accounts and investments that I have. But this is something that I'm going to continue to do for the next 20 to 25 years, just as another, savings stream, if you will. So when it comes time for me to retire, I can sell this off little by little, or if I croak, I then, would either give this to my wife would obviously either get it, or it would go to my children. But you want to think about how much time you have until retirement. So if you're somebody that is actually looking at retirement being right around the corner, some of you may want to consider getting out of some of those more risky investments, such as stocks and what have you. And you might want to pull that out and probably put it into something that's a little bit more secure, like silver and gold. Now, mind you, silver and gold can definitely fluctuate, and it does. We see it happen all the time. But the general trajectory of gold is upwards, okay? It definitely has the ability to plummet in price. However, you pretty much have a couple of things going for you in gold that you don't necessarily in stocks. Now, while the stock market's sole purpose is to make you money, right? That is the whole point of the stock market, is the companies want to make money to increase their stock price and keep the shareholders happy. But you also take on a lot of risk with that, because with the stock market, it could crash. Gold and silver tend to hold their value long term. Yes, they are subject to volatility, but they overall move against the stock market and the dollar. If we see a strong dollar, a strong stock market, we tend to see the prices of the metals drop. But when we see a weak stock market, or if there's panic, or if there's panic and the dollar is weakening, or there's something that's going on in the economy, or we're seeing some sort of collapse, then you see the precious metals market spike. And that's why a lot of people are now getting into precious metals, because we are seeing a lot of uncertainty out there, especially with COVID and with the recession and what it's doing to the economy on a global scale. You're seeing more and more people moving into the safe haven of precious metals. The other thing you also want to kind of consider is setting yourself some goals, okay? I did talk about this somewhat in my video talking about how much silver one should own. You really do want to start kind of putting aside some goals for yourself for gold. Yes, silver, but gold also. Gold being the more pricey metal, I recommend that, in my opinion, I recommend that you should have at least 10 ounces of gold. That's what I would say, just as like a blanket statement to anybody that is now watching this video up until this point. I think that you should have around 10 ounces of gold. If you think about what that is in terms of a cash value, you're talking around $20,000. In my opinion, though, and I know that this is a challenge to do, I do think, though, that you should have goals of gold, whatever you want to call it. You want to have gold goals, and you want to basically set yourself up these different goals or milestones and try to achieve these. The first goal I would say for you to do is try to get a 1 ounce of gold. Get yourself 1 ounce of gold. It doesn't have to be a 1 ounce gold coin. Okay, these are 1 ounces, but maybe it's a lot easier for you to buy gold in smaller increments like quarter ounces. Now, at one point, I did have a ton of 10th ounce gold eagles and I sold them all off. I had around 34 of them, and I sold them because I was able to basically make an extra 2.5 10th ounces of gold because of that. Basically, that trade up in weight. But maybe set yourself up a goal and say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to try to get at least 1 ounce of gold, and maybe you just buy, a quarter ounce at a time to achieve that goal. Once you have that 1 ounce goal accomplished, then set yourself up another goal of 5 ounces of gold. That's going to take much more time for some people, and I know that sounds like a crazy number, but it is doable over time. It really is. You keep putting money aside each week. Go to put the money in an envelope, stuff it away in a safe or somewhere in your house. Do it each week. Know that is your goal money, and then every once in a while, you check how much you have there, and once you hit that certain number or you are able to buy 1 ounce of gold, you go and you pull the trigger and you do it. So I would say do a 1 ounce goal, then you're going to want to do a goal of 5 ounces, and then after you hit that 5 ounce goal, you want to then set that other goal of an extra 5 ounces, so your total goal would be like that 10 ounce mark, right? And again, this is going to take people time. Others, it might not take them much time at all. But it is important for you to set aside some goals. And once you have these goals established, and once you actually start achieving them, trust me when I tell you, there is something about it that is going to allow you to continue down that track. When you see something laid out before you like this, you really do feel a sense of accomplishment, and it kind of gets you in this repeating habit of putting money aside and buying some precious metals and storing away your wealth, your buying power. Once I hit that 10 ounce mark, I knew that I wanted to hit 20 ounces by the end of 2020. So in January, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this. I went into January with around 8 ounces or maybe 8.5 ounces. And then since then, I was able to actually hit that goal. Since January, I really hammered away and was able to save around 15 ounces of gold since then. So try for the 1 ounce goal first, then 5 ounces, and then from there, try to hit that 10 ounce mark if possible. If you're not stacking gold, though, already, you need to start now. You don't want to fully invest or store your money in silver. You also want to have your money split among silver and gold. And I just want to quickly thank these elite channel supporters. And if you haven't become a channel member, please check out the awesome perks and join today. With that, I'm the Stacking Stormtrooper. Check out these videos. Until next time, long live the Empire.